Welcome back, everyone. Prince Faithful, welcome back to the Prince Huda podcast, episode 17. Would you believe that? I'm your host, Prince Huda, flying solo today, but that's no problem. Got a great show today, a lot going on in the world. Last week, I talked about how this room was completely naked. Nothing on the walls, very blank, looked like a prison cell. Coach Chippy called me out on that. So we got some stuff up, New England Patriots emblem there. We got a clothing rack there. We got a jersey, a Blue Jays jersey with Prince on it. We'll get into that later. But excited to continue decorating as we adjust. We've now been 1 month in the big city. And if you saw this week, I'm starting to get acclimated in the big city, okay? Shout out the Wave Room. For those that don't know, the Wave Room, very, very popular social media page in, I guess, Toronto, Canada, potentially, but specifically Toronto. I made a TikTok about how the Gardner was closed. And I think there was some bike race or some run for some reason that they closed the Gardner. And it looked apocalyptic. It was crazy. I didn't know it was coming, right? So I had no idea that they do this. And so I post a video like, what the heck? What is this? How, like, someone help me understand it. Looks like I Am Legend out here. Nothing of it. I think it's a nothing burger video. I just post. Sometimes now I kind of just post to post, and that one exploded. And when I mean exploded, it hit 100,000 in a day on the backup account, Prince Huda Sports. Make sure you follow Prince Huda Sports on TikTok. And the Wave Room, some big Toronto blog, I guess, they're like, oh, can we repost this? I'm like, sure, no problem. Just tag me. They put it on IG, and it explodes too. Little did I know, this is one of the biggest Toronto, Canada Instagram pages out there. I mean, Drake follows these guys. Drake might have saw that video. Drake might know who I am. What's up, Drake? Welcome to Prince Faithful. But yeah, it exploded, and I get all sorts of hate. I feel like I get more hate than love. I get a lot of love. That's not true. Shout out Prince Faithful. Shout out all of you. I get a lot of love, but I get a lot of hate every now and then. Oh, tell me you're new to Toronto without telling me you're new to Toronto. Wow, this guy's never seen the Gardner closed. Wow, there's construction. Yeah, I am new. It hasn't even been a month yet, so apologies if the highway that I look out to every day, that's always filled with traffic and honking horns and sirens, is empty. Okay? So take it easy on me. A lot of people came at me. If you go to my Instagram, you'll see it. I shared it. And it was on TikTok too. I shared it. I got a ton of flack, ton of hate. Why am I getting hated on? All I did was show people a highway being empty. But for whatever reason, this guy's an idiot, slow news day, terrible video. Some girl called me a doofus. Have you heard the word doofus in the last 3 years? I certainly haven't. So I thought that was pretty interesting. But if that's what it takes to go viral in this day and age, maybe I'm approaching this the wrong way. Maybe less is more in that sense. So new to Toronto and already 3 weeks in, been featured on the Wave Room. So shout out the Wave Room, shout out Toronto, and shout out all of you for continuing to follow me and encouraging me to make these silly videos, because I don't usually think anything of them, but for whatever reason they do well. So that's neither here nor there. Great show coming up today. We got some big industry news. Okay, your boy Prince was at his first ever industry event last week. I don't know if you guys saw this, but the Toronto Blue Jays baseball team had a jersey reveal party, City Connect jersey, some alternate jerseys party release at Laval. And Coach Chippy, obviously, he's a big deal. He's a huge deal. My dog, he's on the guest list. So, of course, he's bringing his boys with him. We go together. And, man, what an interesting scene and event that was. So, truth be told, I've never been to one of these industry-type events. Okay, I've been to, some networking events back in my, professional business days. And then I've never been to one of these types of parties. And let me tell you right now, it was not a party. Maybe it was a party, but you walk in, and all of a sudden, right when you walk in, what I didn't know was that the Toronto Blue Jays would be there. Like, I shit you not. I walked in, and to my right, about 3 feet, was Edwin Encarnacion. Remember the guy that would hold his arm up when he hit the home run, the parrot, Edwin? Yeah, he was right next to me. And then across the hall, I see Jose Bautista. I'm thinking, what the fuck? How the fuck did I get invited to this event? How the fuck am I even here? Okay, very much imposter syndrome, but I played it cool. Okay, I didn't ask for no pictures. I didn't ask for no autographs. I did get into a conversation with a couple people, but no real, fanboy moments. I'm not a big baseball guy. If Matthews is there, I'm gonna ask for a pair. I'm gonna say hi. But this is baseball. This is outside of my niche. A lot of the Blue Jays were there, and they released the jerseys, and everyone got a jersey, which is cool. You can see it. It's right there. It says Prince on the back, number 8, which is my hockey number. I haven't really associated a number with this account at all, but number 8 was what I used to wear when I played hockey, so that's why it's there. And yeah, I got a free jersey, which was cool. They're giving out hats. They have finger foods, open bar. I will say these industry events are very different, though. There was a live DJ. There was a dance floor. And not a soul was dancing. It's just very bizarre. Everyone was kind of hanging out in their little cliques of people. You came with 4 people. You're sticking to those 4 the whole night. I came with Chip, my buddy. I'm sticking with them the whole night. That's kind of how it worked, right? Not a lot of inter-squad mingling. Maybe I was just in the minority there. Definitely a minority there, but that's another story for another day. But in the minority of, not being networking, it was just tight. It was very tight, very crowded, very hard to walk around. It's also a big, giant pool there. And they had like synchronized swimmers dancing. And they're doing goddamn cannonballs and belly flops. Well, obviously more professionals, but they're doing those, splashing you. Like, it's just a really weird vibe. But definitely one where it was an interesting night for sure. I got a cool jersey. Shout out to the Blue Jays. It was a beautiful event. Looked cool. But it really just felt like one of those events where you go to take the picture with the CN Tower in the back and the city lights and to say you went. You're not an event that's the biggest party of the summer, blah, blah, blah. An event to go to just to say you were there. Like if you went there and didn't take a Snap story or an IG photo or a reel or any type of shit like that, were you even there? One of those kind of events. So definitely a learning experience for your boy here. Definitely a learning experience seeing how people kind of move at these events. There's dance floors, don't dance. Next time, I'm sure there will be a next time. Whatever that team, whatever that event is, I want to just be more, in the room, talking to people, being a little bit more social. So maybe that was on me, but the event itself was very interesting. But shout out to the Blue Jays for having me. Having Chip and then subsequently having me. But that was a fun event. Interesting night, to say the least. Interesting night. And yeah, that's kind of what's been going on the personal side of things. I know we've been talking a lot about the personal side of things. Oh, Prince, we don't care about your life. We want to hear you talk sports. I post daily reels about sports. But you know what? You want to talk sports? We're going to talk sports today. NFL season. 14 weeks away. 14 weeks. And I think that is when we are really going to take this shit to the next level because we saw the numbers. I say we because I feel like we're all part of this journey together, but we saw last year referee skits, filming games, NFL rigged, all this stuff. That is really what I love making. That's the stuff people like watching. That's kind of really how I started making my step in the space. So very excited for NFL season this year. Very, very excited on NFL season this year. Hockey recently has been going crazy. Shout out to the Edmonton Oilers. Bitter. I'll be honest. I'm a little bitter seeing them in the Stanley Cup final. I wish it was Toronto. I think if any Canadian team besides Toronto would be in the Cup final, obviously happy. Oh, Canadian team hasn't won in 31 years. This is so good for the country, yada, yada. Fuck that. Where are the Leafs? Where are the Leafs? I'm watching Game 6 last week between the Oilers and the Stars, and I hear this crowd for 2 minutes straight standing, chanting, "Let's go Oilers." And I think that is the most electric thing I've ever seen. After the game, they're cheering. They're doing post-game interviews. You can't even hear the players or the interviewees' questions because it's so loud in there. And then they play Living on a Prayer. And then they cut the music and the fans just sing the whole thing. And I think, oh my God, Why couldn't this been Toronto? Why can't Toronto get stuff like this? I'm jealous. I'm jaded. I'm jealous. I'm cheesed. Whatever word you want to use. I am definitely upset and envious seeing the Oilers do so well. And I actually went to Edmonton last year around this time for a job I used to have. I'm sure we'll get into that another day. I don't know if you guys know my past, but I used to have a job in business and I worked at somewhere that required me to travel to Edmonton. And I was there probably around this time last year, and the Oilers had just got eliminated. So I was hoping to go to a game. I wasn't able to, but met a lot of cool people there. You know, my buddy Matt McPhee. Shout out Matt. I know he's buzzing. He's super excited. I mean, this is the team. If you've watched this team your whole life and they're in the finals, even if you watched them for the last few years, or even if you started this year, it's an electric feeling to be in a city where a championship can be won. Okay, I remember when the Raptors were that close to winning. It's an electric feeling. But as a Toronto Maple Leaf fan, seeing the Oilers fans so happy, seeing the team so successful, seeing the team go to the Cup final, it does sting. I'll be honest with you, it definitely stings. And now I'm torn because we're looking at a Stanley Cup final between two teams that I don't want to see win. We got the Edmonton Oilers, Canada's team, Canada's blah, blah, blah. No, Canada's team is the Leafs. You look at the ratings. Actually, I don't know. The ratings have been pretty good for Oilers games. But in my mind, living in Toronto, born and raised Maple Leafs fan, my mom actually shared this picture. I want to show you guys. If you're listening, maybe I'll post it. But I want to show you this picture she actually sent me today. This was my third birthday. One second. Third birthday or second birthday, I don't know. But look at what I'm wearing. You see that? Toronto Maple Leafs. I had a little Leafs jersey when I was like 3 years old, man. Okay, this shit runs deep. So to watch a team go to the finals from Canada, that's not mine. It hurts. You know, seeing Montreal do it a few years ago, it was COVID. Montreal's the worst. No one likes them outside of them. That one I didn't feel too much about, but this one feels because it was close. But then you got Florida on the other side. And the Florida Panthers, I hate them too. They dummied us in the second round last year. They probably would have swept us if we played them in the playoffs this year. Kachuk, you know, he always seems to have good games against the Leafs. Carter Verhaeghe, former Toronto Marley that we cut, who's now one of the most clutch players in Florida Panthers history. He's doing well. So I see this crap. And I think, I hope they both lose. You know, I hope they both lose. Edmonton wins. They break Canada's curse. They become Canada's team. Canada might not win another championship for 30 years again. And Edmonton broke it. So happy for them. Not really. Florida wins. Okay. A team that really just started having a fan base, you know, in the last decade, or at least a strong, passionate fan base that sells out the building on any given night in the last decade. They win a championship after losing last year and beating the Leafs. That stings too. I actually went to Pantherland. I don't know if it's still called Pantherland, but there was 2015 or 14. It was pre-Matthews. They had just drafted Marner. The Leafs were still terrible. And I went with my family over Christmas to a Florida Panthers game. They were playing the Leafs. And it was still like 60, 70% full building, like not sold out, and majority Leaf fans. So it's interesting to see now that on any given night, they're starting to fill the building. Obviously, playoffs, they're filling the building, but it's good for the city. But, I mean, come on. You put a winning team out there, everyone's going to become a fan. Look at Vegas. Oh, everyone's a big Vegas fan. Yeah, because they win. Try being a fan of a team that hasn't won shit since 1967. And the fact that they're still coming out every single game in the arena, in the Maple Leaf Square, on TV, on social media, that is a true fan base, in my opinion. There are Edmonton fans who were alive the last time they made the Stanley Cup Finals. 18 years ago, they made the Stanley Cup Finals. Last time the Leafs made the Stanley Cup Finals, I wasn't even alive. I wasn't even a thought. I don't even think my parents were married. Okay? 1967 was the last time they won the Cup. My dad was born in 1968. So in his entire life, he hasn't even seen them win. So there's a chance he might not ever see them win. But I'd hope to God that I would at least. Please. Please. That's enough venting about the Leafs, all right? Let's dial into this series. Edmonton, Florida. I'm going to take the bias out of it. All right. Bias Prince, ripping him out of the shirt, throwing him across the room. We're going to dial into this series here. All right. Edmonton's path to the finals. Beat the brakes off of the Kings round 1. Gritty series versus the Canucks round 2. Probably my favorite series of the playoffs, I think, in the entire tournament format, I guess, because it was just electric. 2 amazing crowds. Edmonton pulls out the victory. Obviously, Vancouver dealing with injuries, having Demko out, but Edmonton gets the win. They play Dallas. They're down 2-1. McDavid puts on the suit. They win a game. They win another one. They win another one. They win another one. They win 3 straight games and beat Dallas in 6 games. Dallas, who I thought was going to win it all this year. I mean, I really thought. They beat Vegas in the first round. Then they beat Colorado. The last 2 champions they beat. Are they champions? No. So it sucks. I thought Ottinger was the guy, but Edmonton is in the finals. Stuart Skinner's looked amazing recently. Phenomenal goaltending. Connor McDavid scores one of the greatest goals I think I've ever seen to open Game 6 on the power play. Zach Hyman, again, another reason that I'm not a big fan of the Oilers. Zach Hyman, the guy we let walk, saying, oh, he's not worth the money, has the chance to break Wayne Gretzky's record for the most goals in a Stanley Cup playoffs, in a Stanley Cup playoff run. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So you got Edmonton. And then on the other side of the bracket, you got Florida, who not a lot of people are talking about, but they should be. Wipe out the Tampa Bay Lightning round 1. One of the best teams of the last decade in hockey. Borderline dynasty. They beat them in the first round. Then they take Boston on. Every year Boston is a lock to make the playoffs and not a surprise to make a deep run. They take them out in 6. And then you have the Rangers, who looked like the favorite because they eliminated Carolina no problem. Obviously, Washington was a cakewalk, but Carolina was a team a lot of people thought would win. And they eliminated them no problem. And now they're in the finals. And last year, the Florida Panthers were in the finals, and they lost. So can a team go to Stanley Cup Finals, lose, or actually, if you think of the 3-year track record, it's actually pretty insane when you think about this. So 2 seasons ago, Florida Panthers, best team in the NHL regular season, win the President's Trophy, get eliminated in the first round. Very next year, scramble to make the playoffs on the last game of the regular season. They make it to the Cup Finals. They lose. This year, everything seems to go right for them. Finish first in their division, and they make it to the Cup Final. Knock on wood, not too many guys dealing with too many injuries. We know Tkachuk was hurt last year. They seem to be healthy. So with that being said, give me the Florida Panthers in 6 games. I said it. This is the first time saying it on any platform. I haven't posted no videos. I haven't done anything with Sports Interaction. I have not said that anywhere except right here. Give me the Florida Panthers in 6 games. Give me Sam Reinhart for Conn Smythe. Lock it in right now. Sorry, Edmonton. My boy Stuart, buddy Matt. Sorry, guys. I'm really sorry. This run feels electric. I hope it's you guys. I'd rather see Edmonton win than Florida just because Florida's in the division. But I just think the Panthers didn't come all the way back to the Stanley Cup Final to lose a second year in a row. And shout out Coach Paul Maurice. Okay? Another former Leaf coach. So just another reason to just dig into Leafs Nation. I remember when he was a coach, we sucked. And now look at them. So shout out Paul Maurice. Shout out the Oilers. Shout out the Panthers. I'm taking Florida in 6 games. Sam Reinhart for Conn Smythe. 2 guys. Reinhart for Conn Smythe, not Bennett. Oops. Freudian slip. And that's hockey. I mean, you bring in gambling, and I will watch any sport. But hockey, I think, I used to play. I fell out of love with it. I fell back in just as a Leafs fan. But since the playoffs started, I've pretty much watched almost every game. Have I had money on almost every game? Yes, but that's besides the point. I can still watch a game without putting money on it. I'm pretty sure. I don't know about that. But you know what? I've enjoyed the playoffs this year. not a lot of upsets. If we're being, I guess Edmonton would be an upset, you know, standings wise. I mean, this team was in last place, second last place in November. So them making the finals is an upset. But in terms of a series by series, like I'm thinking Rangers sweeping or not sweeping, pretty much dominating the Hurricanes would be maybe an upset. But other than that, not too much going on upset wise. And that's it. When hockey ends, who knows? I like hockey. And I think I've started to establish that I can create content about hockey that's interesting. A lot of handheld reels. So I'll continue to do that. I think hockey and football are the two. Obviously, football is the sport. Football is the dream. 14 Sundays away from week 1 of the NFL season. And I can't wait. And there's some big news in the NFL this week that we'll get into right now. Let's talk some NFL. Okay, we are close. 14 weeks. And this week, one of the weirdest signings I've ever seen, Justin Jefferson, contract extension, Minnesota Vikings, 4 years, $140 million in the bank. Are you kidding me? Justin Jefferson becomes the highest non-quarterback paid player in the NFL. And that's absurd. Now, I'd imagine that record gets broken when a guy like TJ Watt's contract comes up, or a Joey Bosa, or someone of that ilk. Because I can't sit here and look at you guys or say on this microphone that Justin Jefferson is the most valuable non-quarterback player in the NFL. I just can't. I can't. I understand the Vikings want to pay their guy. They want to keep him around. He sells tickets. He keeps them primetime game slots. You know, he sells jerseys, bobbleheads, t-shirts, I'm sure, all of that. But given a receiver $140 million when you don't even have a quarterback is bizarre to me. Truthfully, I thought Jefferson might have walked. I thought Kirk Cousins left. This guy was on a team that made the playoffs 2 years ago, won the division. Last year, Kirk got hurt. Obviously, they didn't make the playoffs. This year, I don't know what the hell is going to happen. Who's even going to start? You got career backup, Sam Darnold, and you got J.J. McCarthy, who could be something. But if he's as young and as raw of a talent as people say, it's going to take, 1, 2, maybe 3 years to develop him. So by the time that he becomes really fit and situated in that offense, year 3, Jefferson's got not much time left. He leaves or he re-signs for more money. It's just an interesting move for the Vikings. You know, you never see a team in this era. It's mostly, franchise quarterback. We have franchise stud defensive players, but at the end of the day, it's franchise quarterbacks. Look at the Niners. You got Joey Bosa. You got Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel. It's still Brock Purdy's team at the end of the day because he's the one leading the offense. When they're in the Super Bowl, all these guys are important players and part of the field, but you think of the graphics that everyone makes and the way people talk about teams and who's getting the most coverage in the media cycle, it's always the quarterback. So it's very interesting to see a team like Minnesota, who I don't even think will make the playoffs next year. I'll say it right now. The Vikings are not making the playoffs next year. Give a guy who's coming off an injury the highest paid or the highest non-QB contract in NFL history. Now, for us today, if you're listening, definitely look at this up on YouTube. But if you're watching today, I have a little treat for us. We are going to look at the 25 highest paid players in the NFL inside 2024. How about that? We got the top 25 highest paid players in 2024, according to the Sporting News. And this article was written by Jacob Kamenker. Shout out to you. So number one, Joe Burrow, $55 million. Okay, that makes sense. I mean, he is a franchise quarterback. He took the Bengals to the Super Bowl in his healthy season. He obviously got hurt in his rookie year. He got hurt last year. He had the calf injury, the wrist injury, but he was on pace to have a pretty good season. And we've seen Burrow go into Arrowhead and beat the Chiefs. We've seen Burrow go on the road and beat the Ravens, I believe. So this guy can get it done. Makes sense to put him at 55. Another guy that signed a hard extension this year, Jared Goff, number 2, $53 million. Do I agree with that? Absolutely not. But he wins games. Lions were 1 win away from the Super Bowl this year, 2 quarters away from the Super Bowl this year. An organization that was in the shitter for so long in the finals. So I can't really say anything negative or too negative about the Lions. I mean, they got a lot of young players that they're not paying yet. Jahmyr Gibbs is still young. Monroe St. Brown, Sam Laporta, Aiden Hutchinson, a lot of young guys, right, that they got to get signed eventually. But Jared Goff, $53 million, whatever. Patrick Mahomes, $52 million. I mean, this doesn't need to be said. Best quarterback in the NFL, one of the best quarterbacks of all time. Probably going to play his whole career with the Chiefs. I don't see him ever leaving. So that's neither here nor there. Justin Herbert, 52, bit of an overpay. Lamar Jackson, 52, I think deserving. Jalen Hurts, 51, deserving. Kyler Murray, 46. I mean, he just contract came up at the perfect time to just shock the world. So I don't agree with that deal, but get your money, Kyler. Deshaun Watson, $46 million at number 8. Not much to be said here. I mean, it is what it is. He had a decent start to the season. He doesn't look like the same player prior to getting hurt and all this crap. So if he can live up to who he once was, I think Cleveland can salvage this deal. But it seems like they're locked into a very terrible and shitty situation in Cleveland. Kirk Cousins, 45. I get it. He's shown success. He's a good guy to have in the locker room. He's someone you want as a face of a franchise. It's a lot of money, but I think I'm looking at these numbers, and honestly, it's like, what? Is he better than Jared Goff? I'd put him in the same similar elk. So to get that guy at $8 million less, whatever. Number 10, Josh Allen, $43 million. This is a steal. And it's crazy to think that $43 million in any sport is a steal. But this guy is, in my opinion, one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the NFL. He can throw, he can run, he can pretty much do it all. So obviously the playoff record is what kind of halts him, unable to make it to a Super Bowl in his career. I think Buffalo will make it at some point. I don't know if they win, but he will make it at some point. And having this guy at $43 million, I think is a steal. And when his contract comes up, I think he can be the first player to cross that $60 million mark. At number 11, we have a tie between Dak Prescott and Matthew Stafford at $40 million. Again, that kind of makes sense. I think these deals are fair based on where they are. Daniel Jones, $40 million. Daniel Jones is also tied at 11 with $40 million. I think that is absurd. Absolutely absurd. A lot of people thought the Giants would take a quarterback this year, but they're kind of locked into this guy. They did take a receiver, so we'll see. Baker Mayfield, 38. We'll just scroll down this list a little bit. Justin Jefferson, 17, $35 million a year with his new extension. And number 18, Nick Bosa, $34 million. I said Joey Bosa earlier. Fuck. I'm sorry. Nick Bosa, the one in San Francisco. Nick Bosa, $34 million a year. Are you meaning to tell me that Justin Jefferson is more important to a franchise than Nick Bosa? No. You keep scrolling down. One that really stood out to me, TJ Watt, $28 million. That's insane. I mean, this guy will probably look for 30 at least in his next deal. You can't sit there and tell me that Justin Jefferson is more important than TJ Watt to a football team. You just can't. So that brings us to 25. I just wanted to take a look at some of these numbers just out of pure curiosity, and maybe some of you didn't know that, but I can't willingly sit here and say that the Vikings gave him a good deal. I don't know what is a good deal, right? If the cap keeps going up, then maybe it will be a good deal in a few years. But to me, that just felt like a shit ton of money for a guy coming off an injury in an offense that we don't even know what it's going to look like week 1 next season. But shout out to Jefferson. Get your money. He wears a lot of chains. Get a nice chain. Get the gritty going. I love watching this guy play. And if that's why they kept him around, then I totally get it. So shout out to the Vikings for keeping Justin Jefferson. I don't know what else is going on in the NFL really right now. I saw the Bears got Hard Knocks. That should be interesting. I think Caleb Williams is going to be someone who people talk about forever. He has a lot of reasons for people not to like him. The painted nails, the emotion, the swagger. He has that kind of I'm the number one guy factor before he's even played a game, which I can see rubbing people the wrong way. But you know what? I like that. Get your money up, get your swag up. So I have no problem with that. So I think that'll be interesting. On the Patriots side of things, we got the emblem up. I don't know what they're going to do this year. I mean, I looked at their schedule. They'll probably go 3-14, 5-12, optimistically. Get another high draft pick. See what happens. But I don't love what the Patriots are going to put on the field this year. I will be doing more Patriots content, though, because you got to lock into a team. And that is my team. So I should lock into it a little bit more. So you'll see more of that coming soon. Interesting things coming up. We got the Euros, some footy. That should be fun. I'm starting to be a footy guy. I don't think I've ever talked about it on here. I don't think I've done many videos on here. But I'm really starting to love European football. Okay, I locked into the Champions League tournament. Again, you throw betting at me, I'm going to lock into anything. But started watching Champions League, really got into it, watched the finals with Real Madrid and Dortmund over the weekend. Real won 2-0, not 0-0. See what I did there? And I'll be honest, it's electric. I went to a spot in Toronto that they're showing the game, and it was cool because it was a split between Real fans and Dortmund fans. So people were cheering, people were booing. It was a very lively atmosphere that you would see for like a Leafs playoff game or Raptors like finals run, but it was just electric. It was a Saturday afternoon. It was packed, filled to the gills. If you saw my story, filled to the gills, and all these guys and girls, but mostly guys, were excited to watch soccer. So I think I'm into it. Starting to learn the intricacies of the game. My biggest problem was the goal scoring, but I'm starting to understand now why there isn't as many goals as you would think. Also, just bet unders if you don't like goals. So, starting to understand it. Euros coming up. Going to be doing some stuff with Sports Interaction. Going to be doing some stuff on here too. I love Portugal. I went there last summer. It was gorgeous. Estadio de Luz, the home of Benfica. Again, I'm butchering the pronunciations, but you guys know what I mean when I'm talking. I watched Portugal versus Bosnia, Euro qualifiers, and that team looked electric. Ronaldo, okay, best player in the world, in my opinion. I mean, I've never seen Messi play live. I've seen Ronaldo play live. He's easily the best player I've ever seen play live. Guy scores the most effortless header I've ever seen, does the Sui, and people call offside, or people were pissed because the refs called offside. I was pretty pissed. I bet Ronaldo to score. But every time he touched the ball, these fans, like just gasping, visibly gasping that he's touching the ball. So he's looked like as God over there. I love that experience. It was so much fun. What a great game. So for the 2024 Euros, I'm rocking with Portugal. I'm going to do it. I'm going to bet on them. I'm going to be making some content, maybe some streams. Who knows, people? Who knows? Stay tuned. But I'm going to start leaning into this European football stuff. Look at the numbers of the stuff that they're doing versus the NFL, versus the NHL, versus the NBA. They can't hold a candle to football's reach internationally. So I might need to start doing some of that. You heard it here first. Portugal is going to win the 2024 Euros. Lock that in right now. Prince with a pick. So we gave NBA finals. We gave NHL finals. Spoiled my own segment here. We gave NHL finals. We gave Euro predictions. Last one is NBA. Now, at the time of recording, it's Thursday. Game 1 of the NBA finals is tonight. Dallas, Boston. I truthfully haven't been watching much NBA playoffs. I don't think I watched much Dallas at all. I didn't watch much Boston at all. I did really enjoy the Knicks 76ers series just because those games were super close and Brunson was unbelievable. Embiid was unbelievable. Maxey was awesome. Boston just dog walked everyone. They destroy Cleveland, destroy Miami, destroy Indiana, and now they're in the finals. Dallas, I did watch a few games here and there against OKC. That was a good series. Luka had a couple crazy game winners. Kyrie looked good. So I don't know. I don't know enough about the sport to bet, but if I'm taking purely off of narratives, I'm going to go with the Celtics. I think this is a team that everyone said. This is that clip of Jaylen Brown that comes up on Twitter every single year talking to that interviewer where he said 5 years, 5 rings, and they haven't won one. So I think that team is in win now mode. They made the finals, 2 years ago? Yeah, 2 years ago against Golden State, and they lost. So I think now they're playing Dallas, who's got a lot ahead of them, right? Luka's still what? I mean, Luka's a 99, so I know how old he's 25. Tatum's not that old either. Brown's not that old either. But I think for that Boston team, you got to win now. And I think this is the year to do it. So I'm going to go with the Celtics in 7 games. I hope for a long series. And now that I've said on here that the Celtics are going to win, watch Dallas now, win game 1 in like the biggest blowout, whatever. And then you'll hear this tomorrow and be like, wow, that guy's a freaking idiot. But I'm going to go with the Celtics. I'm going to go with Portugal. And I'm going to go with the Florida Panthers. I might lock in that parlay. That might be a pretty juicy parlay. You see those finals winners parlays. I'm just going to lock that one in after the show. Before we wrap up here today, a segment we started last week, got a little bit off the rails. Song of the week. What are you listening to? What are you enjoying? I will say the Sexy Red phase is over. Your boy Prince is no longer a big Sexy Red fan. I heard some other songs and I figured that was it. I apologize for putting that out into the world last week. This week I have something a bit better. Do you guys know Eminem's still making music? He dropped a song last week called Houdini that I really enjoyed. It's not like your classic Eminem. It is bars, but it's not like angry, listen to the jits. It's very like poppy, upbeat song. It's got a good bop to it. So, song of the week, Houdini by Eminem. It was between that and Darren Waller's breakup song for Kelsey Plum. I don't know if you guys heard that. That was absolute garbage. That was absolute garbage. I don't know what's going on with Darren Waller. If you break up with a girl, or I guess she broke up with him because she posted it, but if you break up with someone and then you make a song about them and then you post it, and then to be even weirder, the music video for the song that you made about the breakup actually has an actress playing your girlfriend, it's tough. It's a tough visual. You watch the video on mute, play a different song. It's pretty funny. He's in the water and the wave comes up in his face. I'm pretty sure he's still in the NFL too. Like, I'm pretty sure he's under contract for the Giants. So that should be very interesting. Seeing if post breakup Waller is worth drafting in fantasy football this year. I don't know. I mean, this show is off the rails. What do you guys want from me? Okay. There hasn't been a hockey game since Sunday. There hasn't been a basketball game in a few days as well. All right. I've been watching the Blue Jays recently. Since that party, actually. That's probably why. They suck. So, really just grabbing at straws for content here. But nevertheless, I love coming on here. I love coming on here and talking. Whether it's talking to myself, which is funny when we shoot these solo ones. I'm literally just in my room talking to myself for 40 minutes. But I'm talking to all of you, so I don't think that way. Appreciate everyone. If you've made it this far in this episode, you're a real one. You're a part of Prince Faithful. Prince Faithful. I'm going to start saying that more. Appreciate you being on here. Appreciate you continuing to follow me. Numbers have been great recently. They're just going to keep going up, baby. They're just going to keep going up. So get on the rocket ship now before we take off. I appreciate you all. Like, comment, subscribe, follow me on socials at the Prince Huda, Instagram, TikTok 2, the Prince Huda at Prince Huda Sports, and Twitter. I don't do much on Twitter, but follow me there too. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. I don't use the word love a lot, but I do love a lot of you, even the haters, because you took time out of your day to write something negative about me, which means I'm in your head and I'm putting real estate up there. So I love you all. And I want you to continue supporting me, continue following. Stay tuned for the next episode of the Prince Huda podcast. This has been episode 17, and I'll see you in the future.